Today's Wednesday, it's the 7th of June 2023, and I'm out about on my own. Anita's on knitting duty today, so I've just dropped her off with the Knitwits, which is in Bendinat, and I've come down to the beach here, which is sort of between Portals Nous and Bendinat. It actually is the Portals Nous beach, and it's our first beach really in Mallorca. Now, when we first came to live in Mallorca, we stayed in an apartment in San Agustin, and we stayed there. It was only one bedroom, so it was really a little bit cramped for the two of us and a little baby. And we soon found somewhere else to live, and that was here, very close to this little beach. And we lived there for a few years before we moved up into the village of Portals. So this little beach was, well, for Anita, it was pretty much a daily place for her to come while I was at work, and she could come down with Lara. It's changed a little bit over the years, but not too much, and certainly the part you're looking at really isn't spoilt at all. We've got a little chiringuito that wasn't there when we lived here, but a nice little addition. So you can get a little drink, coffee while you're on the beach. There's a green flag up telling us that it's safe, and the hotel over there, well, that's changed considerably. It used to be I'm guessing a 2-star hotel. It wasn't a very nice hotel at all. Well, I don't know, it was okay. Its position was fantastic, but that was closed down many years ago, and the cafe that was with it, that also closed down. And then the whole place was gutted and refurbished and restyled, and now we've got this really nice hotel. So let's make our way through the people doing their exercises and have a little closer look. So we're heading towards Portals Nous, and behind us is Bendinat. So this is referred to as traditionally as the Portals Nous beach. So there's the little map that tells us where we are. This is the beach we're on, and we were looking out here. It actually tells us where there's a toilet. It's really good. So we used to live up that road there, which is Anita America, and what is now an estate agent's used to be a little shop that sort of sold anything and everything, sort of. But was only open during the summer months. And in front we've got the restaurant Astir and the hotel with it, which is really quite swish. We've only ever been there for coffees in the morning, and it's really is quite nice, in a fantastic position. But there used to be a little cafe there, family-run cafe, that Anita and I used to bring. Well, initially it would be Lara, I suppose. When Adam was born, we were already living up in the village. So yeah, we've got sunbeds on the beach, and we've got a shower on the beach, and somewhere it says there's a toilet. Can't see it. So that's what the map says. And lots of chairs and seats. This is a plaza. It used to be a car park, or it used to be much more parking spaces here. It used to be a place where during the fiestas they would set up a huge paella pan and make a paella. It's, well, I don't know if they still do that down here. Everything seems to have moved up towards the village. The beach still does have some seaweed on there. I think I saw somebody complaining about seaweed on a beach. I mean, that's what beaches are. And, well, I don't know, I usually go on this path. There's a nice path that goes around the headland. Unfortunately, the Costas, or whoever's responsible for this, don't actually take care of it very well. Just as they don't take care of many of these coastal paths. I think really they're a great asset. And it would be really nice to see them just looking after them. So there's a sign up here which says don't pass. So I suppose if I pass at my own risk, I'm okay. So it says there's a high risk of detachment. So I don't really think personally it would take too much effort to make this all good. So the fencing is still here, but it goes straight down into the sea, which is looking really good, really clear. And I'll keep away from the edge because I don't want to get detached, as the sign said. So I probably wouldn't bring children here, and if you are coming, then just do be careful. Lots of steps on this, it's up and down. You see the fencing here is tied together with bits of wire, so don't expect it to be safe. But this used to be more or less a regular walk for Anita and I. And the children, of course. And you get out and you've got these beautiful views over the sea, over the bay, the boats, and that amazing house which has always been there since we've been on the island, I think. Usually empty, of course. So other people do take their hands, life in their hands. I'm not the only one. Morning. Little areas which in the past have been used for storing fishing boats and other gear, I suppose. Some of them I can remember them being locked up. Not sure whether they still exist down there, maybe. The block of apartments in front of us was fairly new when we first came to the island. That's a long time ago. We've just been counting the years, and it's coming up to 38 years now. It's incredible. You can see what they mean by it's a little bit dangerous as these drops. And there's steps down here so you can get down closer to the water if you want to. I don't know if you can hear, but in the background there's a digger digging, so there's lots of building work still going on. One of the hotels in Baleares, which has been derelict for many, many years, is being reconstructed. Hopefully they'll get that done soon. But I do wish they would stop this working now the season started. Or do something somewhere else. Quite a trek up as well, so I'm going to climb a little bit. Looking over towards Ilietas. Ilietas, possibly made famous by Errol Flynn, who had a house there, who stayed in a house there, and had a boat. I stayed here for quite a while, and one of the people that really put Mallorca on the map of the film stars, I think. He was here way before us. More steps to go down, very uneven, very tricky. Just little by little we do this. I've got Anita with me to say, be careful. You can see, imagine it could be quite slippy as well, and you could go bump, bump, bump. But I've got my Skechers on. They're good walking shoes. So that's Ilietas. It's a military island over there, and just to the left there's actually the remains of the military base, which I don't think really is used very much, if at all, now. But it used to be like where the officers used to come and have their cheap drinks by the sea. Lots and lots of kayaks out there, together with the other big boats. It's now the time of year to get the bigger boats coming out to Mallorca, people doing their cruises around the island, and spot the celebrity. Just watch your head on that one. And again, another steep climb where I have in the past done a bit of work, so this is just a solid lump of concrete, but this look like this piece of concrete here is just falling away. So it would be nice if they made this good. Not much further now though. Getting very warm. I believe they're heading for a heat wave in the UK, and it's the Spanish heat that's going to be coming up from Spain. So we're expecting a heat wave too. So this is the exit, where we'll find another advisory sign that it is dangerous there. And it is, I quite agree, it is dangerous. But it does afford really quite beautiful, spectacular views. And when we get up here, we can see the beach, which people will actually refer to as the Portals Nous beach, and I suppose I can forgive them for that. But this beach didn't even exist when we first came to the island. And there used to be a bar here, a chiringuito type bar, where you could buy drinks, sit and just enjoy watching the world go by. And this is a little bit dangerous here. As you get closer and closer to the edge, it gets very steep, and because you've got loose gravel, it would be very easy to slip down there and have a rather nasty landing, I would think. So I can see some nice boats out there. There's one just the other side of the island hiding away. And that's Puerto Portals. So 1985, when we came to the island, Puerto Portals didn't exist at all. There was nothing there. That would be the sea. And then when we moved up into the village, I suppose 1986 is, I guess, when they started the construction, and they're still constructing, so they've actually done a lot more work on the port and extended some of the shopping areas in the last 2 or 3 years actually. The water's looking really clear, and when we moved up into the village of Portals, then perhaps, I don't know whether you can see, there's some steps there, and those steps would take you up to the village. And that's where we used to live. So this would then be our local beach, about 100 metres, 200 metres down the road. And so things like birthday parties, we used to come down to the beach and bring the children to play on the sand. So it's really quite handy. In the distance, we've got Palma Nova. Well, first of all, Son Caliu, Palma Nova, and then really just way over there is Magaluf. It's getting warm. I think the temperatures today could well get into the high 20s, and some parts of the island it's probably going to hit 30 degrees. That really is warm. All of this land is owned by the church on the hill, or not just the church on the hill, but the church of the Balearic Islands. So they have a lot of say of what goes on around here. And there used to be another little cafe bar ice cream thing just up there, just this side of that log cabin there, but that's again long gone. There is a gate there which looks as though they may lock from time to time. And then the steps down here go down to a hard standing. And well, I'm going to go down. I wouldn't normally do this, because if I go down, it means I've got to go back up again at some point. And this wall used to be covered with graffiti. And how nice to see that they've painted out all the graffiti and they're doing some murals on here. And now you can start to appreciate the fact that it is a church-based piece of land. And here we've got the loaves and fish, and that's the idea of this bar down below. Oh. So the bar at the bottom has a checkered history, to say the least. But the church decided this year that they were going to take it over and they were going to run the bar. And that's what they've done. So the bar was reconstructed, the chiringuito, and it now is run completely by the church. Now, you might think that's a bit strange. Well, I suppose it is a bit strange. But the church has said that all the profits made for that are going to be used to help the homeless. And I think that's an amazing idea. I think that is really, really good, because what you're going to do here is you're going to get the wealthier boat owners coming along, mooring their boats here like this one, and then they can have a coffee, they can have a drink, and they've just buy this beautiful area. They're going to be spending lots of money. They are aiming to raise 800,000 euros in order to buy a building or to provide accommodation for homeless people in Palma Nova, and they've set themselves a sort of this 800,000 euro target to raise all of this money for next year, by next year. So a big target, and I really do wish them luck. Hope they can do that. So this was all here when we first came to the island. But that's what the beach looked like when we first came to the island, if you can call it a beach. It was just a very narrow, in fact there wasn't that sand on there. The sand arrived later. So when they built the port over there, this was very narrow strand. You can see it's about, I don't know, 3 meters, 4 meters wide, pebbly, big pebbles. And the sea was more or less going up to this not very secure cliff face side here. So they put this meshing over the side, so there's quite a big chicken wire fence that goes over the side here to hold the stones and pebbles in place, which it does to some extent, but they get washed out, the rain comes on them. They have tried to grow stuff on there, but it's not really very good for growing, so it doesn't work very well. So that does actually gradually fall down to the bottom, but it's less likely to go as a nasty cliff fall that you might see in some parts of Dorset, for example. And so the beach was like this all the way along, way into the distance there. They brought a boat in and moored it just off there, and that boat just pumped sand evenly all the way across, so from the port here all the way around. So the port was then finished and they pumped the sand on. They wanted to make a really nice wide beach all the way along, so there's lots of sand at this end. I wish I'd got photographs of that, because it did exist. There was a beach, big wide sandy beach at this end, but there must be a current, there must be something washing the sand away, and it just moved the sand from this side to the other side. And so the beach disappeared here, but got widened a little bit on the other side. And that's the story of this beach, which is the beach that goes right into the port. Luckily, I'm standing in the shade, but I'm going to have to either choose the steps or choose the beach. And I don't think I've ever actually walked along the beach and made a video at the same time, so that's probably going to be my route of choice. Trying not to get my feet wet, of course, or falling in the sea, or anywhere else that matter. So let's make headway. Again, very uneven rocks here. I don't have Anita telling me to be careful. I do have a huge fence that I can lean on. I can perhaps get down here without too much difficulty, or bring down too much of the cliffside. You can see there, it really is unsafe. That gets down into the wetter sand here, and I can now walk along the beach. So this didn't have any sand here originally, it was just the pebbly rocks. And I can remember when Laura was a baby, we came along here, came down those steps, and we brought a pushchair along here, along these rocks. It was a Mothercare pushchair. Remember it well. And I can't remember, I think actually then we made our way up into the village of Portals Nous and went to a bar, a cafe, which is now L'Opera. L'Opera being a pizzeria. But before that it was just a cafe, and I think we probably went there a few times. And it was a chicken and chip sort of place, really quite nice. But then it was taken over and turned into the pizzeria, which we were regulars for many, many years. Not too many people in the sea yet, just want to see paddling. Can't see anybody swimming. So now it's one of the favourite sort of beaches for the area, and lots of sunbeds and another beach bar, which is it's one that's constructed and taken down during the winter time, so it's not here all the year round. Mallorca's quite a different place in the winter, or during lockdown. Lockdown was quite something special. A few ripply waves. I head towards the steps, but I'm not going to go up them. Too many steps. So this would be our daily in the summer, our daily up and down these steps. Some swimming to the island, snorkeling around the island, and then back up the steps. The pipe you can see there actually comes from the drain for the road. So the road comes down from the village, and when it rains, if it rains a lot, the water comes gushing through that pipe, and this bit of the beach disappears. You get a huge gully, and the gully is where the rainwater just washes the sand away. You can see here, from a geologist's point of view, really nice. See the bedding there and the size of the stones, which gives you an idea of the layers that are there. The angle of the layers as well shows that the earth has moved. Very warm when I'm out of the shade, out of the breeze. And there's a little chiringuito with the sun umbrellas, seats. And of course there's a lifeguard on duty, which is very important, the green flag. Here you can buy your cocktails, cold drinks, hot drinks, slushies, and if there is a medical emergency, we do have a little first aid centre just here as well. I managed to get onto the wooden walkway here, which makes walking a lot easier than walking on sand. Walking on sand I find really hard. But it's hot, 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 hot. And the weather forecast today says it's a cloudy day. Yeah. We do have some high clouds there. It says it's unlikely to rain, but if it does rain, it'll be muddy rain. I've just had my car cleaned, so I hope we don't get that muddy rain. There's the boats, you can pedal those, you can rent. And the restaurant here, it's a Sponja. I've not been to that one. It's part of Biwi as well. And toilets, the all important WC toilets. And now we're just heading off into the port of Portals. Puerto Portals is one of the in places to be in Mallorca, where the big boats, we do get a few little boats as well, but it's more noted for the rich and famous that come. And some of the boats get taken out of the water and put onto the hard standing here, and once they're out there they can be worked upon. Just get off the middle of the road because there's traffic going up and down here, and some of the traffic will be silent because of the electric vehicles and the cyclists, so I wouldn't hear them anyway. Deaf as a post. Let's cross over. So this is the new section to the port. It's been open a year or two now. It was being built during the COVID period. It's all open and looking pretty good. There's a whole section behind that. I'm not going to do that today. Lots of bars and things along the way. I'm going to have a look at boats, cars and things. The way this particular port works is that they go from small to big. So these are the small boats, and as we walk further towards the Captainria, the tower right in the distance over there, boats, you'll notice, will get bigger and bigger. So the smaller craft here, the bigger ones over there. During COVID, people were contacting me and saying, you wouldn't mind going down this particular quay and having a look at this particular boat and see if it's okay, because people obviously had difficulty travelling. So it was quite fun to come down and walk up and down the quays. Did have a couple of, well, one occasion really, when one of the guards told me you can't video down here. So I did go off to the Captainria and said, can I video here? And they said, yeah, no problem at all. So, guard wrong, Captainria right. Also, you find boats for sale, or you can buy a 50% share, buy half a boat. Which half do you get there? I've just uploaded a video in and it's a 360 video, so it's on the 360 channel, and I did exactly the same video on our YouTube channel, but I cut a bit out of it for the normal video, but I've left it in the 360. So in the 360 you'll see me trip over quite dramatically. And it's all caught in full virtual reality, 360 degree, everything, whatever. Luckily there were some people on hand to help me, and or a few scratches, but nothing was broken or nothing was really seriously hurt, other than my pride, which is why I didn't include it in the original video. But it's now up there on the 360 channel, so if you want to have a little smile at me falling over, I smile every time I watch it. I was lucky the cameras didn't go in the water, as Faith said, but lucky and didn't cause myself any more serious damage. So you might notice now, as we walked a little bit further along, the boats are getting a little bit bigger, and some of them are really pretty and some of them are not so pretty. I don't know. I think, well, I suppose styles of boats is like everything else, it's in the eye of the beholder. And I suppose it's for whatever job that boat's for. This one's for sale, and okay, from the back, I just don't like the front. And now come on to the next one, and the boats get even bigger. Crunchy. That's the make of the boat. Probably can't see, but there are some quite big fish in the water. I'm sure you may be able to see those. They're big enough, and it just shows you how clear it is. You can see the bottom of the water quite clearly here. It's very clean. Just going past Ritzy. Told is a very nice restaurant, but probably out of my pocket range. Come to the next quay, and even bigger boats. So lots of shops and restaurants down there, mostly restaurants and alike. More shops and restaurants this way. Again, I'm going to carry on walking by the water, admiring these boats. So quite often I stop at the church and just get my other camera out and zoom in on boats as they're going across on the high seas. But here we can get down close to them. And see the mega money that's been spent on these things. Just while we're going on, let's just see some of the shops. Lots of fashiony sort of shops with clothes that I'm sure Anita would like. Sure, Anita can afford that. And the boats just get bigger and bigger. And this is the quay that comes out from Wellies. Wellies, one of the original bar restaurants here. And this is the quay that goes out. And there used to be a really big boat that was always moored at the end of here, a blue one, no longer there. And it was one that Princess Margaret used to frequent. It's obviously many moons ago. It was actually called Leander, just dug that up from the back of my mind. We've got some very posh restaurants on this side too. This is San Lorenzo, Flanagan's. Flanagan's is the restaurant, San Lorenzo the yacht people. Flanagan's, we've actually seen the King of Spain dining there as we've walked past. See, we've got a nice big open space here because this is where the big boats are, and the big boats need space to manoeuvre. More shops here. In the winter time, around Christmas, well, for Three Kings we used to come down, and the kings used to come in by boat. So they'd come in here, stop there, get off the boat, and they would bring the children all their presents. So we used to drop off a present at the Captain Maria with our children's names, and they would collect a present in the square there. It was really a nice local sort of thing to do. Nowadays we more often than not go into Palma and watch the grand processions that they have there. Now you can see we're on the big boats. This is a Pearl 95. We'll take a walk further up there, but before I do that, I'm just going to walk over this way just to point out what's over the wall. We always like to look what's over the wall, don't we? There's another beach. There's more than one beach. So these are sort of hidden little beaches that are not easy to find or come across. But this one here is in front of the apartment block there, and it's a nice sandy beach just by the side of Puerto, and that leads on to Marineland. So the headland here, there, that's Marineland, and in the distance you've got the Costa de Blanes beach. Beyond that, the tennis club. So over there we've got the tennis club, and then in the distance this is leading out into Son Caliu before you get to Palma Nova. And you can see these are boats that are just moored outside here, and I can actually see one deep underwater. So one that's sunk over there, and a couple more that are, because they might be about to sink. So this is a seawall where you're not allowed to go fishing from here, by the way. That's what that sign means. Pretty obvious, I suppose. Up we go. And in the past I've seen lots of beaches, lots of boats beached here. There used to be one on the headland just coming out from Marineland, but there's a couple here, 3 I can see, maybe 4. But I've gone down, and the green buoy there is marking a boat. That is underwater completely. And then just out there's a couple of things which I'm not exactly sure what they are, but they don't look to be too. One of them could be for a jet ski, the other one, or maybe that's for a jet ski as well. Maybe they're supposed to be like that, I don't know. But that one definitely isn't supposed to be like that. So walking here, I've got a nice bit of breeze, which is good. I still haven't managed to do a walk along the outside wall. It's a long walk and it is completely exposed to the sun. There is no shade at all. So unless I do that very early in the morning, I doubt I'm going to do it at all. See a boat coming in here. Interesting looking boat. I do like to find the name of these boats and then look them up on Google, see what information I can find out. So the quay I'm walking up now has got lots of big boats, but the biggest boats of all actually more either at the end of this quay or on the far side. So I'm just coming up to a huge boat. And watch that one come in first. Again, it's a boat I'm really in two minds about whether it's a nice boat or not a nice boat. Certainly a different sort of design. But look at the one in front, it's huge. So that one looked big, but when you compare it with the one we're coming up to, it's not too big. So if I can find a way down here, a safe way down, of course you can. Right, so I can get down in between the bins. Just excuse me while I hit the deck. Boat. It's quite ginormous. Really nice lines to it. Lots of people working very hard to keep it just that way. Actually says on the side, feed ship. The other boat just coming in. Might get the name of that as it goes by. Hampshire, Georgetown. Boats down here, big boats, but I think that one might leave them all standing. That one is absolutely huge. Well, if you want to look that one up, it's the motor yacht Hampshire. And just down this side, we've got the still great but not as big motor yachts down here, all being worked on, getting them spotless for their owners to come out and have a look around and tour the Mediterranean. This is the captainry, and this is the place that runs the port. So any questions you have, that's where you go to, and I've always found them to be very helpful. In a past life, I used to work on some of these boats down here, on this particular quay in fact, doing really strange things like counting screws in order to work out the cost of a job. How long it would take would be determined by how many screws you had to undo. So I spent quite a bit of time counting screws. And other things, of course, it wasn't quite as simple as that. But that's the one that sticks in my mind. And I was a yacht engineer. I wasn't really. Was? So I was. Also, when you come down here, there's not many here today, but there's usually some very fancy cars. And just generally in Mallorca, particularly around this port. Port Adriano is the other one, which has really come on. You'll find big boats like these and cars to go with them. And in recent videos I've shown two of Jeff Bezos's, the Amazon man, two of his boats. One, a huge sailing yacht, fantastic ship, boat, yacht, and the other, his support vessel, which was equally stunningly interesting. So I've got to head back towards Anita now, because she finishes knitting group 12:30 and it's 11:30 now, and I've got quite a walk back. I think I'm going to get my steps in today. Isn't that just a beautiful sight there? In a previous life to the yacht engineering, I used to do shirts for a lot of these boats as well. I used to embroider the name of the boat, or even the actual silhouette of the boat or shape of the boat onto shirts for the crew. So it'd be their uniforms. Right, I'm going to walk up this hill and I'll catch up with you when I get to the top. Well, I made it to the top just as a Ferrari heads down into the port, and that's it from Portals. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to head up the back way, so I could go that way, round past the Crazy Dolphins. There's some cafes and bars, restaurants around there. But I was told about somewhere down here that I didn't know about. Have a look. So Anita comes quite often with Barbara, who lives just behind me, to Ramshackle. So that's one I do know quite well, and we've been there quite often. And then this is the Little Grill, which I'm also quite familiar with. Have a drink there sometimes. And then we've got the rent-a-car Avance, which is very well known on the island. And then the Bodana Wellness. This is somewhere Anita's come from time to time, run by our friend Annette. This is Ramshackle. Get your full English breakfast here. Typical English sort of food. What we didn't know about was this one, which is called Krishna. And somewhere we've been told is an excellent Indian. So we want to come and try that one out. But, they only open in the evening, so we've got to find a suitable evening that we can come and give it a try. More things up here are all pretty much boat related. If you fancy buying yourself a boat, then there's lots to choose from here. If you fancy a little bit of fun on the water, then maybe a Sea-Doo is the thing for you. And come and see Russell, he'll sort you out in there. I'm just enjoying the breeze now. Hairdressing, more yachts, and well, something I suppose you don't always think about, but they generate a lot of laundry, so you need a laundry, and here's the laundry on hand, as it were. It smells like a laundry. I'm going to head up back towards the village now of Portals, and then I've got to go all the way back down to Baleares. So I'll catch up with you a little bit further along the road. Well, we're nearly up into the village of Portals now. It starts with the garden furniture shop, the hair salon, the upholsterers, I'm sure they're working, and there's another laundry there as well. A few other shops. I used to come to one of them here to buy my wood when I was doing some construction work, building work, carpentry. I used to do some projects with Adam during the summer months, build a table or even built a settee once. And then, of course, on the right-hand side, we have the hotel, the Marina Portals, which has been a favourite of our friends Martin and Barbara for many, many years. They've been coming to the Marina Portals, and always hoping that they'll be able to make it out again sometime. So, Barbara, Martin, the hotel's there, waiting for you, just as the rest of the village of Portals Nous is. There's the steakhouse, the rent-a-car there. Some things have gone, some things have changed, some things have stayed the same. So, multi-marine in front, pretty much stayed the same. The restaurant that used to be Continental many years ago is called Meet and Eat now. There's been lots of things in between, but we noticed the Continental because that's where our friend Manolo, who has a restaurant at the bottom of our road, used to work. He used to have his restaurant there. He's now moved closer to us. That's very kind of him. To Canajoana in Genova. Taj Mahal, Indian tandoori. We've been there, we've had a couple of good meals there, so really nice. And then Vivaldi restaurant, Vivaldi pizzeria. Next to that, I tried to make a go of a fishmonger. Unfortunately, it didn't really work. It didn't actually stay open for very long, which is kind of sad, I suppose. And this is the ship. During the COVID times, Anita used to meet here with the knitting ladies, so they had to be outside or whatever, and the ship provided them a place where they could go for a coffee and a natter, a bit of knitting or whatever. Il Tano is a chain of lots of those around. If you need a lawyer. And then on this side we've got a new little supermarket. It's brand new, well, brand new for this year, I think. And then some things have just moved around. So this used to be our bank, and it's now selling things to dress up your home with. Quite an important place across the road, that's the Pharmacia pharmacy. You can get your medication, and they'll also offer you advice as well. So if you're not sure about going to the doctors, they will give you advice and probably provide you with some medication that might get you by. If it's more serious, they'll tell you to go and see a doctor. Denise, I think Anita goes there from time to time. Tobaccos, that's a place we never go to, of course. I like the name of this one. Bake Off. And what used to be I forgot what it was called, it's called Frankie's now anyway, but it used to be the I'll think of it in a moment. And that's where we used to live down there. That's where the big beach is in Portals Nous, just down there. Paco's no more, of course. Paco's has now been he retired and now been taken over by a different chain. Med bar over there, and that's where my bank has moved to apparently. Well, where it has moved to. I've actually been in there once. I don't tend to go to banks anymore. Everything seems to be done online. And we're now pretty much in the centre of the village of Portals Nous, and this really was our original stomping ground. This is where we used to live, it's where we used to do all our shopping. The supermarket here, Sidon, was our local shop. We used to come around here, the children used to run around here and get a baguette. And all the local restaurants and bars and places we used to frequent. As I say, many of them have now changed over the years. Next to it, paper shop. And this is a place we've not actually been to yet, called Rude. But a place we do go to quite often is Chemelli's. The road down there leads to the church, and where the Chiringuito is down on the beach. Nice lookout spot down there. Watch the world go by in the shade. And Chemelli's, well, we really like Chemelli's for breakfast. They do a very good, very reasonable, full English breakfast. So we'll come here on a fairly regular basis, I suppose, every couple of months or so. No bookshop, the bookshop has gone, so Anita's missing that a little bit. But the ever-present ironmongers down there, ferreteria. If you want anything in the ironmonger sort of thing, they're almost certain to have it. You've got all the latest sort of barbecues there. Really good, really helpful people, and I guess we've known the family for forever. going to head down, just show you l'Opera. Kathy and Javier used to look after us there more or less every Friday night. I think we pretty much went there. Oh dear, flower shop. I wonder if Anita knows about this one. Quite handy that the opera's got a big car park just across the road there, but do check because you have to pay in certain hours. Quite a rare sight. There's a cactus. All the flowers are coming out there, look. It's going to be bursting very soon into beautiful flower. I'm heading down here because I parked the car down here. Steps. I'm not going to walk down there to walk up, I'm going to walk straight across this road. Try not to get run over in the way. There is a walkway on the opposite side which would take me, well, all the way now to San Agustin, and if I was going that way, I would actually use it, but I'm not. I'm going to turn right in a moment. When we first came here, there was pretty much no footpaths on either side, and it was really quite dangerous, especially if you were pushing a pushchair. And on this particular side, all the way through pretty much to Bendinat, there was a ditch. So they don't do much in the way of drains here for the road, so you won't find very many grids to drain the waterway. They were just allowed to run into a ditch. And I would quite often be going on my way to school and find a car that had slipped into the ditch. And once it's in. We've actually got to go down there. But there's a few steps that will help me on my way. So here's the steps, and I'll just turn the camera off until we get to the bottom. I just got to the bottom and I just wanted to point out this building up here, this one. There's actually a bus stop right there. That's where I used to catch the bus in the morning. And there's a building there. And when we first came to the island, it was a bar. It's called the Bar Granada. And we went there maybe a couple of times, but not very often. I'm not sure whether one of them was English. Certainly they spoke English. Anyway, it's closed down shortly after we arrived. And it's been closed down ever since. So pretty much for the last 30 years, I'm guessing. It's been closed and derelict. Nothing done with it. It's just quite astounding that the building should be left there and nothing for the past 30 years. I guess somebody must be paying the rates on it. But I mean, it was an okay sort of tiny little bar, wasn't very big, but it's right by the bus stop, so I mean, they could at least sell, and now they could be selling coffees to take away, or people get on the bus in the morning, grab a coffee, take with you. That's what the people do nowadays, isn't it? This is Avenida America, and we used to live near to the bottom of this road. problem was it was up about 75 steps, which was okay because we were young and we were fit. But we used to carry a pushchair up, we used to carry gas bottles up. It was centrally heated with diesel, so I used to carry drums of diesel up there. I certainly couldn't do that now. And this piece of land here, where there's a couple of benches and a load of, well, nothing. That used to be a hotel. There used to be a hotel there on that side. It really is difficult to believe now that it was there. Again, I do wish I got photographs of the hotel, but maybe we do somewhere buried away. We did actually go into it once to see some family of some friends, Denise and Mike. They were staying there. When we lived down here, we had a little, first car was a Seat 127, no such thing as an MOT in those days. So we got all sorts of cars on the road. But if anything was wrong with our car, we used to bring it to this garage here because it was sort of next door to where we lived. And Jorge, who was the man that used to run the garage, sadly no longer with us, used to sort it out for us. Good to see the garage is actually still here, still doing work. And this big white block in front of us, well, that didn't exist. That was just an empty piece of land right next to the house we used to live in, up loads and loads of steps. I'll cross over and we may be able to even see the house in a moment. Lovely jacaranda up there and bougainvillea down below, beautiful colours. Lots of jacaranda we've seen over the last few days. All looking, I just love that colour. I love the bougainvillea down here as well. It's just the more typical sort of colour. We do get sort of oranges and white ones as well, but that's the more typical. So all of this block didn't exist, this white one. The one next to it did, and our house effectively was behind it. So let's have a look and see. And the family who actually lived behind there, or had the house behind there, we've got to know very well since then. Sadly, Peter has now passed away. Really sad to hear that news. So that block was there. Just behind the trees is where the house we used to live in. It wasn't our house, we used to rent it. And the owners of the house used to live in this building here, which they ran a car rental company from. Now a restaurant, I believe. But we used to live right up there behind that jacaranda tree. Fantastic views. Nice house, nice big house. Unfortunately, it was up 75 steps, and life became a bit difficult when Anita became pregnant with Adam, and it was just really too hard to get up there. So we moved up into the village in the days of pesetas. We used to pay the grand total of 30,000 pesetas was our rent every month. 30,000 pesetas. I'll let some of you do the maths on that and work out how much 30,000 pesetas a month rent was. It'll make you smile. Almost back to where we started. Back to the little beach, back to the original Portals Nous beach. There was no pavements here either when we first came, and no bins, no rubbish bins. Nobody has rubbish bins. You just brought a plastic bag with your rubbish in and just dangled it from the nearest tree, and the bin men would come and take the bags off the trees. It was an interesting time then, exciting time, fun time. And Anita used to push Lara up that hill pretty much every day. That was how she got her initial exercise. When we lived down here, she would go up there, and that's where she would do the shopping. As I mentioned before, we used to have a mother care pushchair, which was excellent. Got a good strong base at the bottom for storing all the shopping. So it is a bit hazy today, but it's very warm and really is quite beautiful today, even though it's not sunny. Right, I'm going to get back to the car so I can go and pick Anita up. So thank you very much for watching. It's been quite a walk this morning, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye for now.